Zevachim 80b. Daf Yomi Zevachim 80b. Top of the page with the words Ve'od. Ve'od Tanya Behedia Hanitani Namala Shinisalu Venitani Namata Leviazil Omer Yitin Namala Ve'otain Malolo. The Gemara adds, and furthermore, one can raise another difficulty against the opinion of Rav Ashi, who maintains that according to Rabbi Eliezer, there is no mixing, as it is taught explicitly in the Brayta with regard to blood of an offering. For example, a sin offering which is to be placed above the red line that was mixed with blood of an offering. For example, a burnt offering which is to be placed below the red line. Rabbi Eliezer says the priest shall initially place the blood of the mixture above the red line for the sake of the sin offering, and the priest should then place blood from the mixture below the red line for the sake of the burnt offering, and both the blood placed above both the blood placed above and the blood placed below count for him towards the fulfillment of the mitzvah. The Gemara explains the difficulty from this brayta, and if you say that there is no mixing, why do both of the placements count for him? Perhaps he placed the blood of the mixture that belongs above the red line below it, and the blood that belongs below the red line above it. The Gemara answers, here we are dealing with a case where there is a majority of blood that is to be placed above the line, and the priest placed blood above the measure of the blood in the mixture that is to be placed below the line, and slightly more blood. In this matter, he ensures that he must have placed above the red line some of the blood that belongs there. The Gemara raises a difficulty, but the Brayta teaches the blood placed below counts for him toward the fulfillment of the mitzvah. According to this explanation, it is possible that all the blood of the burnt offering was placed above the red line. Why then has he fulfilled the mitzvah by placing blood below the red line? The Gemara explains the Brayta does not mean that it counts for the mitzvah of the placing of the blood of a burnt offering below the red line. Rather, it means that it counts for him for the sake of the remainder of the blood of the sin offering, which must be poured onto the base of the altar. Tashema. The Gemara suggests, coming here a proof from Brayta, if the priest placed the mixed blood below the red line and did not consult the authorities, what should he do now? Rabbi Eliezer says he shall again place the blood above the red line, and the blood placed below counts for him. Once again, the difficulty is that if Rabbi Eliezer maintains that there is no mixing, why does the placement count for him? Perhaps he placed the blood of the mixture that belongs above the red line below it, and the blood that belongs below the red line above it. Hachanami beruba elyonim v'kayahiv lemala shiur tachtonim yod. The Gemara answers here too. We are dealing with a case where the majority of blood belongs above the line, and the priest placed blood above from the measure of the blood in the mixture that belongs below the line, and slightly more blood. Again, the Gemara asks, but the Brayta teaches the blood placed below counts for him, since it is possible that all the blood of the burnt offering was placed above the red line. Why does the blood placed below count for him? The Gemara answers that the Brayta means it counts for him for the sake of the remainder of the sin offering. The Gemara further suggests, coming here another proof from a Brayta. If the priest placed the mixed blood above and did not consult the authorities, both these sages and those sages, meaning the rabbis and Rabbi Eliezer, concede that he shall again place the blood below the red line and these placements and those placements count for him. If Rabbi Eliezer maintains that there is no mixing, he would not concede this point, as perhaps he placed the blood that belongs below the red line above it, and the blood that belongs above below. The Gemara answers here too. This is referring to a case where the majority of the blood belongs above the line, and the priest placed the blood above the measure of the blood, in the measure of the blood, in the mixture that belongs below the line, and slightly more blood. In this manner, he fulfills the mitzvah of the blood that is to be placed above the red line alone. And in brackets it says, V'hein elu alulo, katani, mikatani elu moedim, elu alulo katani. Well, maybe brackets is before that. Okay. Katani Seifa the Gemara raises a difficulty, but the Brighter teaches these and those count for him. Not only the blood that is to be placed above, the Gemara explains, does the Brighter teach these sages and those sages concede that these placements and those placements count for him. It teaches only these and those count for him. In other words, although the Brighter states in the first clause that both the rabbis and Rabbi Eliezer concede that the priest returns and places the blood below the red line, this agreement does not apply to the next clause, the Brighter. As in the latter clause becomes the opinion of the rabbis alone, who said that there is mixing, which is why both placements count. Tashima, the Gemara suggests coming here a proof from the Mishnah. In the case of blood of an offering that is to be placed on the altar with one placement that was mixed with the blood of another offering that is to be placed on the altar with one placement, the blood shall be placed with one placement. And if you say that according to Rabbi Eliezer there is no mixing, why should they be placed with one placement? Perhaps he places from this blood and does not place from that blood. The Gemara answers, this is referring to a case where the measure of one placement of this blood was mixed with the measure of one placement of that blood and no more. Consequently, he certainly placed both types of blood. The Gemara raised another difficulty. The Mishnah teaches that in the case of the blood of an offering that is to be placed on the altar with four placements that was mixed with the blood of another offering that is to be placed on the altar with four placements, the blood shall be placed with four placements. But if there is no mixing, perhaps he placed only the blood of one offering. The Gemara explains here too is referring to a case where the measure of four placements of this blood was mixed with the measure of four placements of that blood, and therefore he certainly placed blood from both offerings. The Gemara raises another difficulty. The Mishnah teaches that if the blood of an offering is to be placed on the altar with four placements, it was mixed with the blood of another offering that is to be placed on the altar with one placement. Rabbi Eliezer says the blood shall be placed with four placements. Here too, there is no mixing according to Rabbi Eliezer. Perhaps he placed the blood on only one of the offerings.